Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to talk about attributes. So attributes are a type of metadata called structural metadata, and that means that they describe code structures. And you would typically do this for design time support or some sort of runtime dynamics. In this example, it's something different. It's more so just for like, I don't know, information for a company. So this attribute here, the author attribute, you would apply it to a class or a struct to describe the original author of the code structure. And say if you're in a company, you can see the author who has written the class, the original author of a class, and if you didn't understand the class, you can simply go find that person and ask them about it. And that's a good thing about that. And another useful thing is that you can also write programs to analyze the output builds and find class who's writing what in the company. And you can say, oh, this guy works on a lot of GDI classes. We should move him into the GDI group or whatever, and all that jazz. So yeah, you can look it up using reflections. These attributes are not stripped from the output assembly, unlike XML comments, and you can do tons of stuff with them. And they're loads of fun. So let's take a look at this bundle of fun. And this is the author attribute. You just extend from the attribute class. You should probably postfix all of your attribute type names with the word attribute. You may be confused when you can actually use the type without typing in the word attribute. It just kind of strips it just to make things look cleaner. It's okay. I was actually confused at first when I was using pre-existing attributes like a couple weeks back. I realized that the type name was actually something different from what I could actually type in to use it. It was weird, but it's useful. So in this case, I have one mandatory argument. These are called positional arguments. They're simply defined by parameters in the attribute constructor. In the attribute constructor. And from the looks of it, you don't need to assign to anything. You just need it as a constructor parameter. And then there's the optional arguments. These are just defined by public fields or public properties. In this case, I just used a field, but you can use a auto-implementing or whatever you want. So up here, I've actually defined the attribute, and we can actually remove the age because it is optional, and unremove it. But we can't remove this here. Oh, by the way, these optional arguments are named, what are they named? They're called named arguments, just because you have to use their name to assign to them. And what else? Oh yeah, you have to, well, you probably should decorate your attribute class with the attribute usages attribute, just to define what code structure the attribute should be used on, well, can be used on really. Because if I try to take this and put this on a method, then it's not going to work. Sorry, that's not a method, that's another class. Okay, trying to put it on the constructor. I do believe a constructor and a method are different things. They are different enums. Although a method may encompass a constructor, I'm not so sure. I haven't looked that up, but you should probably, if you're going to plan on using it. So yeah, there's class, struct, namespace, some other stuff. Let's take a look at it. There they all are. Yeah, I thought there was a namespace, but there isn't. So you can. We'll just put that back to class and struct. Okay, let's go to the code where I'm actually looking it up on reflections. With reflections, sorry. So this is how I've done it. So first we get the type info, which is the program here. So we get type, console application program. I'm using the fully qualified type name. And then we're going to iterate through all of the custom attributes using a for each loop. And then we're going to check to see which attribute is of type author attribute. If it is, then we print out the mandatory argument, which is going to be the first one, And then afterwards, we check to see if the named argument exists. We don't actually need to look it up by name because there's only one of them. But in this case, it does exist, and it's going to be at index 0 that we just type out, or we print out its value. So I can break into this. Should be 21, and it is 21. So we're going to get something like this. Brian Ferguson is 21. So there's the author of the program class. And the same concept applies to reflecting outside the assembly, except you're just going to have to use a lot more naming to identify different elements of code and stuff like that. And you're actually going to have to load the assembly, of course. I've actually seen sample code where somebody was loading the assembly using reflections within the same assembly. It was kind of weird. Like that, it would be unnecessary. But anyhow, that's how you do all this jazz. And that's it. See ya.